So when do you think we get our first official announcement?
Mid June at this point is my guess. I think we'll get an IP in June, an IP in here. I don't want. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't even, Ryan. I'm skipping the intro.
You can't even.
We're back.
We're already back.
It's been 24 hours.
Yeah,
we look like idiots. We look like idiots.
Because Brian, I remember specifically asking you, I was like, hey, so when do you think the next announcement's going to be?
I said June,
and you're like, oh man, and I'm like, well, and then even this morning I was thinking, I was like, you know what, they got to announce an IP soon for Hollywood, and then all of a sudden,
what are we doing?
All of a sudden, 10:33 rolls around, and
I didn't believe it. Honestly,
I texted you, and you're like, what'd you say?
I think I just said what. Or shut up. I think I said shut up. I don't think I believed you, and I didn't want to. And then a special guest who just happens to be here with us tonight also texted me, and I was like, this is happening. Yeah. This is a real thing. And
we text each other way too much,
sick.
Brian.
We did. You got to scroll far.
Yeah, side note, it's weird to be on video now. I can't hide in the background on mute while you guys wait to introduce me. I'm just standing.
At 10:47, I texted Brian. First of all, I tried calling you, and it went straight to voicemail, so a little bit offended.
It's been doing that. I need a new phone.
And then I was like, we got another announcement, and you're like, shut up.
That is how I felt. There was no way. And spoiler alert, I'm still recovering from my illness, so we have some help here because
he's still coughing.
I'm still coughing. I'm gonna be coughing the rest of my life. Ryan, I just put that up. I was finishing up our Slaughter Cinema episode.
Slaughter Cinema 2.
And all I thought was they got Slaughter Cinema 2. They got us. They always announce something, and we're like, well, I felt safe with this one. We got a house, and I had a buddy text me today. He goes, "Hey, look at this," and he sent a picture of Slaughter Cinema 2. And the house that just got announced, he's like, did you think we'd have 2 houses announced by today? I was like,
not at all.
What are we
Brian,
doing?
Has there ever been an announcement back to in business days, 2 days in a row?
2 days in a row. The only time I could think of is when they did that week-long dump a few years ago. I don't remember what year it was, but I'm sure somebody else has called it out already. But there was one time they went day, and that's what it feels like. We're in the heart of it. But Ryan, for those of our people listening here that might not know what's going on, because if you go to the website, guess what?
Still not there.
Still not there. Neither of them exist.
I like how it's
not real.
us.
None of it's real.
What if they just don't put anything on the website and it's just only Twitter?
It's just Ryan. What are we talking about?
All right, so we
here?
have. Sorry, I'm getting ready for this. So we have Goblin's Feast. Do we want the synopsis?
Yes, please.
All right. Welcome to the Goblin's Feast Tavern and visit the Goblin Village, where a lavish feast is being prepared for goblins, orcs, hobgoblins, and witches, and you're the main course. I have one question for you, Brian.
Ooh.
What's the difference between a goblin and a hobgoblin?
I couldn't tell you, but I have friends who could. And I will tell you that they are actually ecstatic.
Whenever I hear the word hobgoblin, all I can think of is Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's definitely just a Spider-Man villain.
Universal does have the rights to the hobgoblin for theme parks, so...
Wait a minute.
Can
you imagine walking through this house and it's all these orcs and goblins, and then suddenly the hobgoblin is in one scene fully themed to his Marvel character, and then you leave and go back into the orc land, and you're like,
you know where you go right after that, because I would be remiss to not mention Shrek's shadow swamp of shadows, because Shrek's in this house, guys.
Oh, is
he? AI knew. AI freaking knew.
There are ogres in this house, so.
Hey, dude. I can't believe how on the nose it is for our stupid house thing that we did.
For those of you who saw the Shrexel that's now available,
yes.
I feel like this is the lore for the green dipping sauce. It's going to be in this house. The ogres will be living in some kind of green ooze swamp. Not slime, not to be confused with Nickelodeon, but yes.
That and the green ice cream, we're getting the origins for all of it. Ryan, so many thoughts. Out of nowhere, on terms of like, I asked you, what was this on the spec map? What was the icon? It wasn't. We think this was unknown IP or unknown original. Like, there was nothing in my mind that kind of like signaled a Shrek, ogre, swamp. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the real question. Is this really just Wicked Growth 2, Ryan?
That's kind of what I'm hoping for. The artwork for it definitely gives Wicked Growth vibes.
Yeah. And we said in our last episode, what if it's all sequels? And they announced this, I was like, oh, there goes that. And then the more I looked at it and read it, I was like, or is it witches, goblins?
But sorry, they would call
Wicked Growth.
Wicked Growth 2, like Wicked Growth is an IP for Universal now. They would call it Wicked Growth 2. But it could have vibes. Don't forget the vibes.
And the vibes are going to be good. That's why I know some people are freaking out. Other people don't get it. I remember, and I will throw this all up in everyone's faces because no one listened to me about Wicked Growth. No one listens to me about anything. But I just like I was ringing the bell on this new commercial campaign that I am probably wrong on. Wicked Growth, I was like, it's my number one. And everyone's like, oh, it's too generic. You said the verbatim, and someone in the Rest in Peace tour said the same thing. What you just said about this house, verbatim, it's just very generic. It's goblins and witches. And I was just like, yeah. And HHN is going to kill that. It's going to be unbelievable. I have full faith in this house. I also am a little nervous because I think this is going to be, I'm going to change something we said a few episodes ago about the Sweets house maybe being like kind of the grotesque house. I think this is it. I think this house is going to be disgusting, dude, in the best way possible.
Now, Brian, where do you think this house is going to be?
Sprung, but I don't know which one.
But aren't all the Sprungs accounted for? I think
I just, if this is in Fast and the Furious, I'd be blown away.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking
right
now.
That'd be weird.
Does that count as, is that technically a Sprung house?
No. It's a tent.
I mean, it's inside the queue.
It's like half tent. Yeah, but they do build a tent for it. I don't know. It's like half tent, half building, quarter outside. I mean, 10% outside.
If you look, like there's no rumor as far as like the other ones that are accounted for. I mean, Slaughter Cinemas and a Sprung. Yeah.
I got to think on that because that would take my expectations down a little bit. Is that weird?
But like we haven't had
if it's not in a Sprung or is in a Sprung?
If it's in Fast and Furious specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just don't think it lends itself to, I don't know. I don't know. We have not seen it, Chucky was pretty scenic. So maybe, I don't know.
But it doesn't need to be scenic.
No.
I mean, that'd be useful.
I mean, Wicked Growth was wildly scenic.
Yeah. I mean, it was a Sprung tent.
Yeah. Okay. So we have no plan, guys. We didn't get to pre-discuss this. So to give my voice a break and to hear some input, because Ryan and I just talked last night. Special guest, talk me through. I want to hear before Slaughter Cinema to this house announcement. Because where have you been in all of this? You joined us for AI.
I did.
But you haven't really been paying attention to HHN because why? Like you listen to the episodes, but nothing's announced.
Well, I was telling you guys right before we started that I listened to like the first 25 minutes of the most recent episode, which I didn't know had dropped, but I'm like, oh yeah, they've recorded. We've had an announcement. It makes total sense. And I was just like nodding and laughing along when you were talking about the videos and the teasers that they put out. I got so stoked when I sent you, which I knew every time I send you this, I'm like, I know he's already gotten this from 4 other people at least at this point. But that commercial, full blown, I was like, this is going to be so exciting. And I watched it and I had the same thought. I'm like, but what is it? What's happening? Like this, I'm excited, but I don't know why. I don't know what's happening here.
I want to know more.
I'm excited
Please
something's happening, but what is happening?
What is
and
it?
It's like the thing at the end of the commercial, I'm like, this could be 17 different properties that exist right now. Yeah. Like, you know where my mind went? I know it's not, but I really hope it's like finally the sequel to Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Oh.
Remember how an egg hatched?
yes.
The egg. We never got that egg.
Never got the payoff.
What a through line.
26 years later at Halloween Horror Nights 33, it's happening. No, and so the fact that you all talked about Slaughter Cinema 2 and then that being the announcement, and again, out of left field, I was like, this is, first of all, they're listening to the podcast, so congratulations, because they're like, no, we're going to throw them for a loop. Here you go. Here's Slaughter Cinema 2.
God.
But after that and what we had, which was nothing for so long, I'm like, okay, well, there'll be a little bit of a break, before the next one, and just randomly on a Monday morning. It's just the most chaotic thing because Universal has so much going on right now. For all of us who have been following Epic Universe, like I get so stoked every time they come up with a new announcement. They've been testing Starflyer, Starfall, Stardust,
because
Changer.
I don't know if you saw that, Ryan. They might have to change the name.
Oh, why?
Because some Starfall something is claiming copyright all of a sudden now. After we've known this name has existed. So they actually filed a second backup name as Stardust, which would be a bummer. But then I said, WWE's going to come after him on that one. No, it's a roller coaster. And by the way, if you have not seen the footage of the dueling coaster testing, let's just say it's a beautiful thing to see dueling coasters at Universal again.
Truly. But I mean, it's a crazy cool time for Universal because they've got so much going on. They have so much momentum across all their properties. Especially like the live. I forget that they're building like a kids water park in Texas at the same time, or that got announced at some point.
Las Vegas.
You got
they're working on Great Britain now as well.
Dude,
Great Britain's park. They're popping.
If the rumor that I heard about the Great Britain park, which again, there's like nothing official other than they've bought the land, they've confirmed here's what a layout could look like.
Right.
But somebody mentioned I was watching a video and they're talking about like. They want to make this park, if they do it, different than the U.S. parks so that there is a draw to go to both. Mm-hmm. And like, what's one big property that we don't have in the U.S. that'd be great in England? And Lord of the Rings was mentioned at this point. Can you
Lord
imagine?
of the Rings has been rumored for Universal. It was on a survey in like the mid-2000s.
Wait a minute. Orcs in the Goblin House?
Oh my God, we're getting Spider-Man, Shrek, and Lord of the Rings
all wrapped up in the
house.
You've got the Urukai versus a Hobgoblin, the crossover you never knew you needed. Here at Halloween Horror Nights 33.
And there's actually a rumor that the Epic Universe, they have 2 available plots of land that they have not developed in this, yet, and one of them is still rumored to be Lord of the Rings. But man, if they do it overseas, why do it here?
Yeah,
right. Well, it makes sense. It's like you've got the variations of these parks across the country or across the world right now, but if you're going to build them and you want to draw people from one park to another, I think that's the way to do it. I will say I'm so excited to ride Velocicoaster once Epic Universe opens because hopefully the line will be a little bit shorter. But no, the whole HHN announcement season has been absolutely wild, and the fact that we talked about Shrek for so long and the different types of birds that the Shrek characters would be, and now there's ogres in the like this is ridiculous.
I'm out. I swear, if there's a birdhouse in any of the freaking houses, it's over.
You know what's gonna happen?
Billy's gonna be in a birdhouse, and it's just gonna be like middle finger to this podcast.
Do it! I dare you. Put Billy the puppet in a birdhouse and just show your cards, man.
I can't believe I didn't include Billy the puppet in either of my walkthroughs. I should have just.
You didn't. Neither of us did. We were too focused.
I know.
On
we only had 5 minutes.
Listen,
to write this thing.
You guys have so many more of those episodes to come. Like, don't throw it all out in round 1.
We got some people who want to do it. That's true. Here's how I imagine it going, because all of us have worked in marketing a little bit, right? Worked for amusement parks and haunts and entertainment companies, and I just imagine them sitting down and they're like, okay, like let's say the rumor's true that they lost Five Nights at Freddy's and that was supposed to be the first IP, and they're like, well, now what? We gotta work in between Epic Universe. We have DreamWorks Land opening. Summer, I'm sure they have big announcements in the summer for Epic Universe because they'll be a year out. They want to book the hotels. They want to get people in the park, right? And they're like, well, we did a full dump, in July or August last year of all of them. Why don't we just do that again? It's like, well, fans are chomping at the bit. We need, people are starting to book their packages with no, what do we do? And some guy's like, You know, that second last week of May is over.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Should we just dump everything? Yeah, let's do it. Like, that's just what, because there is a strong rumor, Ryan, that this is just the beginning. I was just texted literally 5 minutes ago during this podcast that we probably will know every original by Friday, which is crazy.
It's
if
very
that happens.
crazy, and that would be amazing. Going to go ahead and.
But what do we do?
And just
what do we do, Ryan?
Not record every night. I'll tell you that one. No. If more comes up, who knows? We might find the time to record, but I would probably wait unless there's anything crazy until the weekend.
What would be
the weekend?
What would be crazy, Ryan? The week? Okay,
you did mention scare zones.
What? I mean, they could do scare zones. They could do shows. They could do Dead End 2. Wait, who said that? Is that crazy?
You just sounded like a Mika song, Brian.
I mean, if Dead End 2 gets announced, I might just come home from work and we do a midday episode.
Midday update. We go live.
Ryan, I have to rebuttal. I have to give a rebuttal to the podcast I was listening to earlier. You didn't invite this, and I wasn't on that episode, but I'm going to rebut against it anyway. When Brian said I might have an extra spot on the private Rest in Peace tour, and you said I've got a baby on the way. You know who else had a baby on the way last year? Spence, and he went and did it.
And what
anyway.
happened during the event? What happened during the event?
Here's the thing. Don't worry about that. Worry
That's
about
exactly
today.
my fear.
Everyone's happy and healthy. He was trying to get a milkshake, and instead he found a baby. And by he found a baby, his wife went into labor.
Was it a boy? Did the milkshake bring all the boys to the yard?
It was not a boy. Milkshakes brought the girls to the yard, and it happened 3 minutes after I left him in that milkshake lobby. So
it was the most chaotic thing to wake up to.
God, it was like the worst thing where it's like you're exhausted, especially for like we did it, we got through because we were just coming back from SeaWorld.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hello Scream.
And we're exhausted. We've done 2 nights at HHM, crazy stuff. And we just want to wake up and fly home and wake up. And I wake up to text from Abby, which is like, did Spence leave in the middle of the night? What happened? Where is he? I was like, what happened? She's like, we're at the hospital. I was like, oh no. And so we just kept it going, baby. Get the party
Ryan,
going.
you know what they say? Lightning does not strike twice in the same place.
That's right, Ryan.
Except
you're safe.
Yeah. So specifically you have to get a milkshake from Cabana Bay at
you just don't replicate the exact do replicate the exact situation, and then you'll be safe. Yes.
Fair point.
I also misspoke twice yesterday, and I can't remember the second one, but the first one I said the last time they led with an original was Dead Exposure 2, but I don't think that's true. I think there was an IP
I wanted to say that
before that. Yeah. So I don't know the last time they led with an original. I'd have to look at that chart thing, which maybe I'll
would
do
it
right
be
now.
maybe Jack for that Jack was coming back for 30?
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
I do want to say, Brian, your theory, although I was very excited to listen to it after the Goblin announcement of all the originals being sequels, I don't think is true anymore.
Wicked Growth Goblin Feast.
No.
Okay.
Maybe it's like a side, like a parallel universe type thing.
Could be. Okay, so here's my question. Let's just do it. Special guest. We have 2 houses announced. Rank them. What are you most anticipated?
Tell me your least anticipated house. We like the spice here on Ryan and Brian's Next to the Halloween Horror Nights podcast.
That's right.
My least anticipated house right now. Hot take. Slaughter
How
Center
dare you?
2.
Oh my
How dare
God.
you?
Get him out. Get security. Get this man out of here.
Nights?
No, because Shrek is going to be in the Goblin house. So how am I supposed to make that not number 1?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, well, it is my number 2, so. Or no, Slaughter Center is my number 1.
IP The House is coming, and it's called Goblins. Let's go.
Okay. 2015, May 19th, Jack announced his Icon, so that's not a house, but original. Texas Chainsaw, American Horror, Stranger Things. It has been a minute since I don't know if we have it categorized. It's before 2012.
Jeez.
So
what, 21? 21 maybe?
Wait, let me find 21. Dates are hard. Here we go. 21. Beetlejuice was technically announced.
Was it?
Friday, March 5th. Beetlejuice House announced. Then Jack announced as Icon, Cabana Bay Experience, and then Haunting of Hill House. God, what a year!
I said 20. I said 21, not 31.
I missed that house.
What? That's 2021. No. Oh, I see. See,
you did the thing you were talking about last night.
It's so 21.
I was like,
okay,
wait, Beetlejuice was announced for 21, and then they delayed it for 10 years.
They keep switching the numbers.
And you're like, Jack, and I'm like, and they canceled the Icon and replaced it with
did.
This was a crazy year.
That's gonna be hard
because there weren't that many IPs that year.
Right.
I think it was only The Thing. It would have to be like
it'd be The Thing. But I don't have the chart that goes that far back. So they stopped right before then. Coincidentally.
I know.
Ooh.
I am just excited to be in.
I was gonna say we're in full on announcement season at this point. Anything could happen. But at this point,
hey, wait! This 21 is
There you go.
The other thing that I said incorrectly. I said there had not been a character outside. Like no one's fact checking this, and nobody even probably knows that this is wrong. I said there had not been a character outside of a house since Saw. Which was wrong. It was Saws and Steams in the same location, and it was a chainsaw.
Those couldn't be closer names to.
Right, something about Saw.
I don't think anyone. No one was going to dispute you on that, bro.
It's my integrity, okay? Nightingales, man. Back when we only had 8 houses.
Yeah.
Yikes. The Thing, yeah. So that would have been it. So maybe, HHN 21, not to be confused with 2021.
Right.
Because, no, that was Lady Luck year. It was all website. It was the wheel game, and I loved this website year because if you got wrong, if you had to pick a chance, you actually got kicked off for like an hour. You had to wait, and people were learning how to like do different IPs and stuff or IP addresses so that they could keep playing. So there is a good chance, so it's been
there's a good chance
easily over a decade since they've led with an original. Is all we. This would have been a way of saying.
This would be a great spot for you all to be sponsored by a VPN. That way you could say NordVPN.
Guys,
if you need to get back on the website.
NordVPN. Ryan, you're in IT. Tell us about VPN. Should I have one?
100%.
Oh my God. What am I doing with my life? I've made a mistake.
And don't go with one of the ones that's like pre-installed on your phone. Better than not having one, but highly recommend using one.
By the way, we are not sponsored. This is.
I've had one since IAPA in 2019. Well, especially if you're using hotel Wi-Fi at any point or airport Wi-Fi at any point in time, you need a VPN. Otherwise,
I've had one since ILO yesterday.
Yeah.
Get it?
I get it.
IAPA, ILO, they're basically the same.
Yeah, he was there one time.
Yeah, Zamperla.
Ryan,
yeah.
Oh no.
Well, Brian, I'm going to check one last time just to make sure they didn't announce anything while we were recording.
Yeah. Nope. But you know what is built out? I was just sent. Oh no! Don't play that. That'll get us canceled. Hold on.
Well,
not canceled, but.
Do you want me to sing a song for at least 3 seconds?
HHN 33 hype, because we got event music from that one teaser from the panel.
Okay.
Now, special guest, did you get to the part? No, you didn't. I think you. I talked last night about us doing the Rest in Peace tour this year one night and how I'm already a little sad that we're not going for 2 nights, even though.
Okay, that's where I stopped it, and I said, Brian Matthew, absolutely not. I'd parked the car and I stopped the recording because I could not listen to you talk about this. We've decided long ago we're not doing 2 nights. This is why we have Rest in Peace tour. I've told everybody that we did Rest in Peace twice, and then we didn't do Rest in Peace, and we went 2 nights, and we're all like, oh yeah, we're in our mid to late 30s now. This is not a good choice anymore. Remember baking in the sun for 2 hours?
It's like a marathon. We did the dopey race. It's like after the race, you're like, oh, those
But I will tell you,
kind of fun.
This year, Stay and Scream for Slaughter Cinema is going to be pretty awesome.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you know what I would do again? The dopey. You know what I wouldn't do again? Stay and Scream. I've never in my life had a pop for a cloud.
Just for the record, can you explain to those that don't know what the dopey is? Unless you're just talking about
the dopey,
because I think you're smoking weed. So
God, hold on. I'm fighting for my life over here to not spit out freaking water all over my equipment.
So the dopey, for those of you who don't know, aren't runners, Disney does several different half marathons throughout the year, and in January they do Marathon Weekend where they host a 5K, a 10K, half marathon, and a marathon over 4 days. And those of us who are crazy enough can do the dopey, which is all 4 of those races in 4 days. It's 48.6 miles. It's wild. The first 3 days are great.
It was 50 miles because the turns are wide. And you have to walk 3 miles every morning to get to your stupid starting corral. Billy and I had very different experiences.
Yeah, listen, I enjoyed the Epcot race every time we went. It was a great time. I would do it again in 9 years. But sitting outside, I will never forget just sitting in the heat, just waiting to go inside. And then, unfortunately, and then again, you all have talked this over a million times, like nothing against the operations folks in that park, but the chaos of trying to clear people from that park, let us in before the park is technically even closed.
Yeah.
Because they opened at like 5:30, 5:45, 5:15, something like that last year.
Yeah, and we got screwed because the first time we went around Mummy and I had to call Ryan. I'm like, where do I go? I've been going to this event for 15 years, maybe? I don't know, 2009.
Yeah, the signs pointing in certain directions were not.
They told us to go that way. And it wasn't the right way.
No one knew. And it's like, okay, if you choose the wrong line, like, sure, well, you get to do Dueling Dragons 15 times, yeah, but then you're still gonna have to wait 3 hours for Stranger Things later.
For Stranger Things, yeah. And now here's the rebuttal. There's probably no big IP this year. Ghostbusters, there's not going to be the crowds that we had last year for the Stay and Scream.
But Brian,
but to your,
I don't know. How are we? Are we wrapping up or are we?
We
it doesn't matter to me. I just have I have an idea. It's an outlandish prediction.
All right.
Let's hear it.
What if this commercial is leading to Universal's own version of Ghostbusters 3?
That was easy.
We're gonna get sued for that. What is that? What
they do their own Ghostbusters movie.
They tell their own story.
Yeah.
It's not off of a movie.
That would be why.
Okay, so this whole time they've been teasing Ghostbusters, but
yeah, which has fallen away, which is weird.
I had a thought about that because you all were talking about
it would be an IP that would be both coasts.
Was it the Blumhouse houses you all were talking about 2 episodes ago? One of the series, I can't remember, was it Conjuring or Purge?
Yeah.
So this was my thought. Have they ever done exactly what Ryan's talking about? I'm glad you brought this up because I meant to ask you all about this. Have they ever done an IP adjacent house where it's just based on the universe, but it's like, I mean, for example, like, Galaxy's Edge was not really in Star Wars, but it is Star Wars. Have they ever done that with a property? Or, I mean, obviously they've done it with the originals and they've done it with their own. So all of the
monsters, but not
Universal monsters,
and what Ryan just said, and that would be pretty crazy, Ryan. I think that it's possible.
It doesn't make sense, but I think it would be kind of cool.
But the commercial doesn't make sense.
That's just some sort of new thing. Before Ghostbusters 2, if I told you there was slime that made people happy.
Exactly.
They're sad. You'd probably be like, that doesn't sound like Ghostbusters.
What IP do you all think that commercial could be if it's not Ghostbusters? What does it remind you of immediately?
Well, Stranger Things is what...
Okay.
Yeah. But that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But I thought, because before they released the commercial...
Or the only other one I heard thrown around, and I refuse to entertain this because we've already had this house, and it would be phenomenal again. We didn't have it exactly, but in Aliens, it was a little bit Aliens, as well. That hasn't been rumored. I would be blown away. There is the new Alien movie coming out.
Is there really?
So I don't. Yeah, it looks really good.
But that would be a really hard get now that
horror.
Alien is owned by Disney.
Right, and that's why I don't think it's happening.
You know what else is coming out this year? That is a Universal property? Twisters. Could they do a Twisters house? Could they do?
I wish my camera was wide enough for me to stand up and do the Bill Paxton stance. I'll do it.
I know you would, and you'd
Before I forget, so the underground, the sewers, they teased that before they actually released the whole commercial. Yeah. I was sold that was it. Like, there was going to be a clown down there, and then it was not a clown.
And then I was like, a few years ago. His name was Jack, because they've done this exact storyline. Anyway,
and then, wait, Brian.
I'm going to say that.
Brian, this is actually starting to make more sense. When they announced Ghostbusters, what was the commercial?
Yep.
What was it?
It was a park security guard walking after clothes over in the New York section.
You're right.
How does this one, the teaser, originally start? It's with a person doing the same thing.
Is it the handyman or is it security? This is Ghostbusters.
I almost just sang the theme song, but I didn't want to get sued again.
Yeah, again.
And are they walking in New York?
I'd have to watch it again, even though I've watched it 4 or 5 times. I think it's geared towards an overall theme of the event. I don't think it's an IP. I don't think it's a house. I don't even think.
But
it's
Hollywood
really
doesn't have a theme for their event.
Right, and so that's why I think the theme is Halloween Horror Nights. It's just that. It's Halloween horror. That's it. That I know it's not great, but I think that's it.
I guess we're at year 33. Okay, they're not all going to be winners. The quote David Pumpkins.
We're getting a week of originals. I don't care about the IPs. I don't care about the commercial anymore.
Okay, outside of Wicked Growth, if they were to release one more sequel to an original.
Dead End 2. What's your question?
Let me finish.
Sorry. What sequel do you not want to see?
I was going to say Graveyard Games.
That's a good one. That's a good one too.
That's a good one. Graveyard Games was a big win.
Yep.
Close second would be Scary Tales.
Which one though?
The first. Because we did Scary Tales.
So we'd just do the fourth one. This should be number 4.
Oh, that wasn't the first Scary Tales.
No, that was number 3. They've done one like roughly each almost decade. I think they did 2 in the 2000s and then 1 in the teens, and then they haven't touched it again.
I retract what I said about Scary Tales. I would just like to see Graveyard Games.
Now
HR Blood and Guts would be a close second.
Oh my goodness, bring HR Blood and Guts back.
I've only heard about that one.
They did every holiday though. What would he do?
The holidays again.
and that's what it would be called.
Holidays with a Z.
The holidays again at the
again.
The holidays again at the Avian Asylum.
Now you got to go through. You got to go through Slaughter Cinema.
Me? Oh. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I know you did, Ryan.
Depths of Fear. Not the same house, but
no. Now I was telling this story the other night. My favorite. We went through Slaughter Cinema, and that was one of your first years. Like, was that just you and me? Was that without?
Okay, I'm going to ask you, what calendar year was that? Not what HHN year was
2018.
that?
2018.
Ryan? 2018. So 2019 was
yes, that was my first one. Yes, yes.
Billy was my accountability partner because I went by myself the year before because we had moved away, and I ran myself into the ground. I had one night. I've told the story 100 times. Maybe we'll do it again sometime. But my wife said I'm not allowed to go again if I don't bring somebody. And I said, I can't bring people. They slow me down.
That's what you told me when I first tried to go with you.
And it's serious. Let that be a testament, guys. Don't get your feelings hurt, because I still get people asking to go. And I'm like, look, I can't, okay? You got to be willing to go hard in the paint, or in the fog, sorry. And but what I learned is maybe you can, because last year I failed, night 2. We all sat down. I was like, this sucks. Because you had to sit in the sun for 3 hours
Yeah.
And clap for a freaking cloud. Anyway. And so I took accountability partner down, accountability, and Slaughter Cinema was that year. And that was, I mean, I love that house. But at this point, Billy had only been to, he had been to HHN a few times. He visited me when I was a character. He went on a bachelor party we went when it was all Walking Dead. But he hadn't really had, like, he had good moments. But I want to say, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I think the Swamp Yeti was a defining moment for you in your HHN kind of storyline.
It is one of the reasons that a Yeti house will always be in my top 3, unless it's absolute dumpster fire garbage. But that house was just so unique. And again, like Brian said, it was only, I think, my 3rd time visiting, but it was my first time where we were like, we're going through every single house. And we planned it out multiple times. So I really got the full experience. And I still believe that Yeti was 15 feet tall when I came around the corner, because it was the scariest thing I've ever seen. And then I'm pretty sure there was like a triple scare of Yetis.
There was.
That got me. And like, this is, I mean, if you didn't go to the original Slaughter Cinema, you have to imagine how many actual movies were represented inside the house that year?
6, I think.
So imagine a Yeti house condensed into a 1/6 of a house. And so all the scares you would get in a Yeti house happened in the span of like 28 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
It was terrifying and amazing. And because I'm 6'3", like there's not often where I meet someone that is significantly taller than me. So when this Yeti approached me, I'm like, this is like the devil Chewbacca. I don't know what's happening right now, but I think I'm gonna die. And it was terrifying and glorious.
We got out, and he was just like, the Yetis were bigger than me. And that's like, that was just, it was equivalent to, I don't like werewolves anymore. It turns out I don't like werewolves. Like, that was Billy's moment. He's like, they were bigger. Yeah. And it was so good. But also that house is just fun. The atmosphere. I mean, there's so much good stuff. And in line, you had the trailers of all the houses.
You did. The only other moment that's come close to that is when another thing was bigger than me. I didn't like it. Do you remember?
It was Haunting of Hill House.
No, that was a close one.
That was I was a tall guy. That's the only thing I think about. What else would be taller than you?
The Icon House.
Fear.
Yes. When I stared at it for like
your first introduction to fear.
It felt like I was stared at that thing for 20 seconds and it didn't move. It didn't move. It didn't move. And then suddenly it moved. And I thought I was probably the closest I've ever been to going to the ground.
And that's probably the best scare anybody got from Fear, because in the scare zones, he was very much like a photo op. In a house, he's terrifying.
Yeah.
It was a good scare. So, Ryan, we got a whole week of this. Guys,
I'm excited.
I don't know what we're going to do. I am too.
We'll play it by ear.
Get your Shrektels ready.
Yep.
I'm going down the Shrek slide this year. I hope you know that's happening. Also,
I mean,
what are the lines?
Sure it's guaranteed.
I want to see the lines. Like, are we queuing through that area?
Brian, this is going to be a little bit of a controversial take, but I'm seeing all this stuff about the DreamWorks land, and I'm just getting a little bit sad because I know that like there's going to be families that are taking their kids, and then a bunch of influencers are going to push them to the side to go right down. I'm like, let's just remember this is a kid's land. Let's give the kids a priority. If it's slow, whatever like that, you want to do that. I'm like, but let's keep the magic alive for the kids.
Yeah, it's not like the FIFA water slide, which was a true attraction, and you felt weird as an adult doing it. But if there was no line, whatever. This is a 8-foot spiral slide, guys. And I watched a full-grown adult come out of it barely sliding because it's not meant for you. And just and it's completely.
So you're saying I'm gonna get stuck
if it's slow? I get it. I would like to experience this stuff too, especially because it's like Shrek. We grew up with Shrek, and I can't wait to see it in person. But yeah, I also want to
Can the three of us go show up to DreamWorks Land dressed in homage as the 3 Barney characters that I can remember? Barney the Dinosaur, Bebop, and whatever the yellow one was called. DJ?
DJ? Yeah.
Was it that? Why do I know that?
That sounds right. I don't know. That sounds right.
But I will miss that creepy Barney statue.
The Barney statue and going through the Barney theater.
That was pretty great.
That was the calm before the storm, depending on what line you were in. It's like, I'm in a Barney land. I'm safe. No, you're not.
I am most intrigued to see what the line situation is going to be.
Yes.
This year.
Are people going to queue for the Shrek slot? Virtual queue?
No, I mean, shut up. You know what I mean. Yes, I already have my spot. You got to get there at 7 a.m. Queue opens. No, I want to know where the house portals are going to be, and what, I want to know where this house is.
It'll be very interesting. I'm sure we'll find out more details.
I think the portals are in Epic Universe based on all the videos I've seen.
That's right. That's true.
I think we're. Yeah,
I got everything out.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the house, but I'm excited to see what comes. This week I cleaned the whole house out on the edge. My wife was like, because again, I've been super sick, and I'm up now and had work today, and then I'm cleaning the house and stuff. And she's like, take it easy. I was like, I can't. It's HHN season. We got announcement week. Like, I don't know. We're getting a house. We might get an announcement every day, Ryan.
I hope it happens. I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but I hope it happens.
Well, I will tell you this, Ryan. My hopes of a house announcement today weren't even at zero, because I would have to even entertain the fact that there was going to be a house announcement today. I don't even. It wasn't when. I mean, I just stared at it. I thought someone was like playing a joke.
I know.
On us.
So you're saying that we may be having a conversation in 12 hours and 29 minutes?
There's a very good chance we're having a conversation in 12 hours and 29 minutes. If they tweet 33 again tonight,
game over, man.
Game over. Game over. Aliens coming.
All right.
We got our ogre house.
Well,
we did it.
Great episode, guys.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you all.
We don't know when we'll be back. I'm going to try. Yeah, we'll get this episode up, and by the time I put it out, we will be behind on whatever they announced tomorrow at 10:33. So.
And as our librarians once said, make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.
The choice is yours. That's not going to be timed out because of the delay. You can